Hi, I'm Stacey Berk. I'm professor of oboe here at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about what a student that's thinking about coming to Point might expect if they come to school here and what we do in the oboe studio at Point. So obviously we would have weekly private lessons right here in my beautiful studio, and then we also have a weekly studio class with all the oboists. And typically we'll spend a lot of that time learning how to make reeds all the way from the very beginning through finishing reeds so that the students can be playing their own reeds, which is a really vital skill for oboists to learn. In addition to reed making, we play oboe ensembles, we perform for each other, we listen to recordings, and we have just a nice community of oboists where we all learn from each other. So that's always a fun part of the week. Our overall goal is to not just play the notes on the page and play them accurately and with beautiful tone and with good intonation, but to do all of that stuff and be expressive with what we're doing so that it's interesting both for us and for the audience. And so in the lessons themselves, what I do is hop around a lot between the different aspects of what it means to play the oboe in order to be able to achieve all those things. So we've got the physical aspect of playing, we've got the intellectual aspect of it, we've got the expressive aspect. So just to go into a little more detail, the physical aspect, we might think about how we're using our muscles, or maybe how we're using our muscles too much and maybe they're inhibiting what we're trying to do. So how are we using our fingers and our arms in order to achieve a nice smooth line on the keys, and can we move our fingers more efficiently? Or we might think about how does the tongue work, and how do we use the tongue to articulate really efficiently? Or how do we shape the inside of the mouth in order to achieve a really beautiful round tone in all the different registers of the instrument? And so if we learn more about our bodies and how our bodies work, then we can use that knowledge to help us play this beautiful instrument. So those are all just physical aspects of how do we create the music. There's also, like I said, the intellectual aspect. So we might have the music in front of us, and then we can say, we can look at it and say, wow, there's a lot of accidentals. I have to learn all these different notes. Or if we look at it more carefully, we can study the music theory of it, and we can say, all right, well, yeah, there might be a lot of accidentals, but how do those accidentals fit into a certain key? Or even, how does this one little passage, can I apply a certain scale or arpeggio to this passage that I'm playing to recognize these patterns in the music to make it easier to play? And so if we study what's going on with our part, and also with the score and with the harmony, we learn what's happening in the music. It makes it so much easier to play, and we understand more about the music itself, so we can play it more effectively. And then finally, there's the expressive aspect of what we do, which is kind of the most fun, because we've got all these notes on the page, or improvising. We don't always have to play written music, and we can say, we can get caught up, I should say, in those notes. And so if we want to be able to communicate something to an audience, sometimes we want to just get away from the music itself and think, what kind of story can I tell through this music? And so I ask students quite often, I'll say, well, can you apply an emotion to what it is that you're trying to express? Or let's put lyrics to this line so that we can help find some of those stresses that we would find with lyrics and apply it to our oboe playing. It's not like one lesson is just about the physical aspect and another lesson is just about the intellectual. We're constantly hopping around between all these different perspectives of music study in order to continue to grow with what it is that we're doing. I guess that's a really great thing about music itself, is that there's no end goal where you say, I am the master of all things oboe. There's always something that we can achieve and keep working on. So we can say, hooray, I got this thing, and then we can say, okay, now we can do this, and now we can add this, and now we can add this. So we can really be lifelong learners, which is great for both students and for professionals alike. If you are interested in Stevens Point, you're free to come, contact me and come get a lesson, and I'd love to meet you. Thanks.